Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mary Bleeding, and on today's episode I will be showing you how I made this sumptuous grilled catfish. If this is your first time on my channel, you're welcome. It's so good to have you here. Please click on the subscribe button to follow for more interesting and exciting content. Now without further ado, let's jump right into it. So in this video you can see that I'm just washing my fish. First off, you want to start by properly washing your fish. As you know, many fishes have scales, but the catfish is one of the few fishes that doesn't have scales. However, it is very slimy, so you need to properly wash out the fish, wash out the slime. If not, by the time you're done grilling your fish, by the time you taste it, you feel the slime and the awkwardness in the fish. So I started off washing this fish with warm water and salt. In this video you can see that I'm washing off 2 fishes, but I'll be grilling only one. I just want to keep the other one clean and stored in my refrigerator for when next I will be using it. So I just kept on washing. You know, you have to wash it severally to ensure that the slime is completely out before you go ahead to seasoning and grilling your fish. So here I'll be going in with my white vinegar, and I'll be washing the fish with the white vinegar. This will help to also remove the slime from the fish. You can substitute the white vinegar with lime or lemon. If you don't have white vinegar at home, you can get lime or lemon from your local store and use for washing the fish too. Some people also use really hot or boiled water to clean up their fish, and it actually does a good job. It cleans out the slime really fast, but I observed that hot water makes the skin of the fish, hard, and I don't really like it that way. So I just prefer to use warm water with salt and vinegar or lemon and lime. So I also went in again with my salt to ensure that every slime in the fish is out. At least clean it as much as you can. So I think now my fish is almost clean. Yeah, you can see that even the water is not as dirty as it was, and the fish is even looking brighter than it was when I started washing it. So here we have our fish and it's ready to be seasoned. So I'll be placing the fish now on a tray. We'll be needing a mixing bowl and some ingredients: cooking oil, some curry and thyme powder, some minced onions, little water, minced garlic, my pepper puree, I have some lemon. We're needing some lemon juice. So I'll be blending this mix of tomato and pepper to get this tomato puree that we'll be using for the garnishing sauce for this fish. You don't want your fish plain. So we'll need some knife too, my bell peppers, green, yellow and red bell peppers, and sliced onions. Need some seasoning cubes, ginger powder, paprika powder and salt. We need foil for wrapping our fish, and then I'll be serving this fish with half fried plantain as the side. So we'll be proceeding to make some incisions on the fish because we'll be tucking in our seasoning sauce into this pocket. So you want to make some cuts and incisions on the fish. That's what I'm doing here. I want to make it on both sides of the fish. I forgot to make mine on both sides, but I'll be doing it later in the course of this video. So you want to make sure you're making incisions on both sides of the fish. You know, you want your whole fish to be tasty and yummy. You don't just want some parts to be tasty and the other parts to be bland. So you need to make this incision so you can tuck in these ingredients into the fish so the fish can be more tasty and yummy. So I set my fish aside and then I'll be mixing my seasoning sauce for this fish. So I'll be making this seasoning sauce. I'll first go in with my pepper puree into the mixing bowl. Then I'm going in with some minced onions. Then I'm going with my minced garlic. Some curry powder and thyme powder. You can add these ingredients to your preference. Then I'll be going in with some salt and some seasoning cube. Then my ginger powder, my paprika powder too. So you can increase the quantity of any of these ingredients as however you like it. For the peppers, my pepper puree, I had a mixture of fresh red chili pepper, cayenne pepper, and red bell pepper. So the red bell pepper is popularly called tatashi in Nigeria, while the cayenne pepper is popularly known as shombo. So I'm just stirring my mixture to properly combine the ingredients. You can see that's what I'm doing here. I'm just combining my ingredients. Keep stirring to combine. We'll be going in with some cooking oil and some water to loosen up the ingredients because it seems stuck. So I'll be going in with some cooking oil, then some water too. So I'm stirring again to properly combine. So I'll be adding some lemon juice into this mixture to enhance the taste and flavor of our ingredients. So you want to take out your seeds before pressing or squeezing the juice into the sauce. I didn't take out my seed in this video, but you want to take out yours. I'll be scooping them out with my spoon because you don't want the seed entering into the oven. It's going to make your fish bitter. So I'm taking out the seeds from this and then I'll stir again to combine. So I'll be setting this aside and bringing my fish because I want to generously apply this seasoning mixture on the fish and then tuck it properly into these pockets that we created. So I'll be using some gloves to do this because I didn't want the hotness of the pepper to remain stuck on my fingers even after cooking. So here I'm just putting my sauce into these pockets that we already created initially. Make sure you want to generously apply this on the fish and stuck it into the pockets. Like I told you, I forgot to make incision on the second side of my fish initially, so that's what I'll be doing here. So I made new incisions on the other side of the fish and also tucked in my ingredients properly into these pockets. Then I'm rubbing it on the surface of my fish. I'll pour reasonable quantity into the fish head because we also want the fish head to be tasty. And since we didn't make incisions, we had to pour it into the head. Now I'll be setting my fish aside and then spreading my foil paper. I'll be using this foil to wrap the fish because if you put the fish just on your grilling pan, it's going to stick and it will be messy. So there are some foils that come bigger. They call them heavy duty foils that are bigger than this one. If you have those ones, that's fine, but if you don't, you can still use this. You can see that I cut my foil in 2 places because I wanted it to contain my fish. That's what I did here, cut the foil in 2 places. So if you have this foil at home, you can still use it without needing to get the heavy duty foil. After that, I'll be placing my fish on this foil and properly wrapping my fish. So I'm placing my fish and then I'm pouring the remaining garnish or seasoning sauce on the fish because I want my fish really tasty. So now after doing this, you need to properly wrap up the fish and ensure that there is no space while wrapping the fish. You can drizzle some oil on your fish to avoid it from sticking to the foil, but because I added some cooking oil in my seasoning sauce, I didn't sprinkle or dazzle oil on my fish. So I'm wrapping my fish properly now with the foil. Make sure there is no part of the fish that is exposed. You wrap it properly. This wrapping also helps helps the fish to absorb every ingredient in your seasoning sauce. So you can make your sauce quite a little more concentrated because the fluid from the fish can dilute the sauce. So now I'm placing my fish on the grilling tray and placing into the oven. So you can make your sauce quite concentrated because the fish content or fluid will dilute the sauce and then it might not be as tasty as you want. So try to make yours a little more concentrated than the regular meal you will just prepare. So I'm placing my fish into the oven. I'll be closing my oven now and then I'll be setting my timer to 45 minutes. Please notice that I already preheated my oven. While I was doing my mixture and incision on the fish, I already put on my oven to get it preheated before going in to put my fish. I'm using a baking pan here, a baking paper on my pan because I don't want my plantain to get stuck to the pan. So I'm serving this half-ripe plantain for my side dish and I just washed it here. Here I'll be peeling it, taking off the skin and then cutting it into chunks that I'll be grilling. So like I said, this fish is a very versatile meal. So you can serve it with any sides of choice. It could be French fries or yam fries or even potato fries, but I prefer mine with grilled plantain. So you can see I'm just cutting this into chunks. When I peeled my plantain, I made a deep cut on the side to enable it absorb heat or take in the heat properly. So just watch how I'm doing that here. After peeling the skin on my plantain, I'll be going in with a deep cut. Okay, see me doing that here. Then I'm cutting the plantain into chunks. After this, I'll be placing it in the oven to grill alongside the fish. So what you might have a challenge that your plantain will start burning because the heat is quite high. Normally, when I grill my plantain, I grill it on a medium heat, not a full heat. So I just placed it. You need to be checking to avoid this. So I had issues placing this, but I figured a way out and then I closed it. Now we'll be preparing our garnishing sauce for this fish. How do we do this? I placed my pan on heat and allowed it to dry. And I'll be going in with some cooking oil. Start adding some cooking oil, allowing it to heat up a bit. I went in with salt. Then I went in with my chopped onions. And I continue to stir this to fry, and then you see how it's looking translucent now. I'll be going in with my tomato puree. Then I stir. So now you can see that the combination does not allow us to distinguish between the oil and the tomato. So I'm going to allow this to fry up for a while. You can still see that it's still quite watery. We'll allow this to fry up. I'll cover it, allow it to fry up for a while, and come back to it while I check my fish and my plantain to ensure they are not getting burnt. You see now I'm coming back to check my sauce. I still see that it needs some more frying, so I'm going to leave it. You need to fry this till you see little bubbles all over the top of this. Now I'll be checking my plantain and my fish to ensure that they are not burning. You don't need to unwrap your fish to know. From the aroma you can tell how your fish is doing and that it's not burning. So I'm just checking my plantain. I noticed some were getting burnt, so I just turned them, stirred it a while, and placed it back into my oven. Now I'm coming back to check my sauce. You can see now that it is more reduced. That's reduced, and then the bubbles are just up. I'm going in with some curry and thyme powder. Then I'll be going in with some seasoning cubes. Then I just stir my sauce and then cover it to simmer for some minutes, about 5 minutes, to make sure that the ingredients combine. I'm stirring this. So you can see now our sauce is properly ready and done. Now I'll be going in with my bell peppers, my yellow, red and green bell peppers, and then stirring this. You see how I chopped my peppers. I didn't chop them too tiny or too big, but you can chop them to your size of preference. Now we'll just be stirring to ensure that this combines properly. That's stirring this to combine properly. I'm going to cover it and leave it to heat up for like 2 to 3 minutes on low heat, because I don't want my pepper to overcook. I just want it to get tender. I don't want it to overcook or be too hard when I eat it. I want it to be soft enough, but then again I don't want it to get too overly cooked. So I'll be covering my pan now to heat up, but I'll be reducing my heat to the lowest. Reduce it to the lowest, cover my pan and wait for it to simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. Now by this time my fish is already ready. So here's my sauce after 2 to 3 minutes. By now my fish and plantain is already ready, so I bring out my fish, unwrap it, and then I'll be sprinkling generously this sauce on the fish. We don't want to serve the fish this way bland and all that, so I'll be generously adding my sauce to the fish. You can see that in my fish I faced it up. This is the back of the head of the fish, but if you're serving an audience you need to turn it, let the head of the fish be on top. So I'm generously sprinkling this garnishing sauce on my fish, and then I'll be putting it back in the oven to grill for another 5 minutes, just so the fish can absorb part of the taste of this our garnishing sauce. And then I'll be serving the plantain in a plate and then dishing the remaining garnishing sauce in a small bowl so it can be eaten with the plantain. So here am I putting my fish back in the oven to grill for another 5 minutes. So this time I reduced the heat because I didn't want it to just get burnt. So here you have it, my fish served with my plantain and my garnishing sauce. It's very sumptuous and yummy. I bet you. So if you'll be trying out this recipe, please leave a comment or a thumbs up in the comment section below. And if you're still here, you've not followed my channel, please click on the subscribe button to see more interesting and exciting content and recipes that you can try out at home. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video.